Hustle is a cult, and burnout is its baptism. In a world that worships output over essence, Sarah Layton walked away from a wildly successful business to take control of her joy. And in doing so, she redefined what legacy means in the age of AI. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. I'm Lynea Carver. And for the high achievers I work with, the relentless chase has become an unbearable weight. You have been told burnout is the price of success, but I am here to tell you that is a lie. This space is for the leaders who crave a different path, who are ready to build a life and a business that truly supports them and doesn't silently destroy them. So if that's you, make sure to subscribe, ding that notification bell so you can be in alert for all future content. Today, you're going to hear from one of the most authentic creators I have ever met. And together, we're going to redefine what it means to thrive. In this conversation, we are going to unpack three things. Why burnout isn't a personal failure, it's a systemic signal. How Sarah's approach to writing, design, and storytelling stands out in the day and age of AI overload. And how digital products can create recurring revenue without recurring stress. So let's get right into it. You are not going to want to miss this conversation.
I actually answered a client call 2 hours before I walked down the aisle. The SEO landscape is changing. It's not about who has the most content anymore. I don't know how to express to you the intense opportunity that is there for you to go out and dominate a niche market in your local market. The difference between being a legend and creating a legacy. Being a legend is wanting everyone to know your name. Creating a legacy is having an impact in people's lives, whether or not they ever hear your name.
So in a story that glorifies hustle, Sarah's story offers us rest, rhythm, and radical creativity. She's going to show us today how she flipped the narrative and became the best real estate writer. I'm super excited to talk to Sarah and explore how to create legacy for impact crafted with intention and propelled by joy. And Sarah, one thing that I'm, first of all, super excited that you're here. Thank you. I know that you've got a lot going on and you said yes. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I do have a lot going on, but this is honestly, I've been so excited for this. This is my first real conversation back with the industry since returning after a long bout of burnout.
Well, this is the right place for you because we talk about that a lot, is burnout. And it's actually fun because that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about today is that story of burnout, because I felt like that was really relatable to a lot of people. And while you're not directly like a real estate agent, right? You are an entrepreneur. You are a founder of your own company. You had a really successful business and you made a decision to better your life. And to me, that's I think probably the most inspiring piece of your story because I resonate with that a lot. And I know a lot of people in our audience do too. So tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, like who is Sarah Layton?
Sure. So thank you. That's actually really, really kind because to this day, I still have like friends and people that I meet that think I'm banana pants crazy for walking away from my business the way I did the first time a few years ago. So to kind of rewind a little bit and take you back, I started freelancing as a real estate content writer, doing SEO, web design, things like that, but primarily blog writing and website copy for real estate agents back in 2016. And back then, there was nobody offering it whatsoever. AI existed, believe it or not, but it was nothing like this. And you 100% could not use it and publish it in any way, shape, or form. It was not legible. So I was very lucky when I did my gap analysis of the market as a content writer, trying to figure out who am I going to serve and who do I know how to serve. It happened to be the real estate industry because I had worked in title. I had worked in a real estate attorney's office. I had worked for agents in marketing. I had done all of this stuff. So I knew really the nuances of the industry, the pain points of like what an agent goes through, what a lender goes through, all of these things. And I thought, okay, not only is there clearly an opportunity to make money because no one's doing this for agents or brokers or anyone, but B, these are people that I know do not have the capacity to create content that's going to make any kind of difference in their business, much less the lives of someone else. So this is an opportunity for me, not just to help my client, the agent or the broker or whoever, but the people that they're actually trying to reach. So it allowed me to become a writer, which I was born in 88. And growing up in the 90s, unless you were going to be, you know, Barbara Walters or work for Cosmo, you weren't going to be a writer as a professional. So like, this is a dream come true. The fact that I get paid to write is beyond amazing. So I was very lucky that there was no one else offering it, and I got very booked up very fast and stayed that way for a very long time. I was averaging between 10 and 20,000 words of raw content written 100% by me per day for months at a time. And eventually, shocker, I burnt out.
Well, I mean, that's very similar to a lot of stories that I hear where it's like we find out to get into a niche, right?
Yeah.
They have a niche, and that niche makes you so in demand that if you're not actually prepared to take on the demand, that's what happens. That's totally what happens. So I see that. So tell me, like, at what point, you know, when you burnt out, how did burnout feel? How did you know you were burnt out?
Yeah, that was a process for me, because I had spent, like, from the first 5 years of my business, I was deliberately single. I was in my 20s, and I was just loving, like, being this woman in charge and running things and everything. And in 2020, my husband, genius that I am, I decided after getting engaged that I wanted to plan a destination elopement in the middle of COVID, and also try to purchase a house as an entrepreneur with very difficult provable income statements and all that kind of good stuff. So summer of 2020, I was 4 months into the closing process and a month from getting married, and I was waking up every day booked out, 3 years in advance at this point, and just hating panic. I mean, I'd wake up and have panic attacks at the idea of having to write a sentence, much less just everything that I loved about the business became a nightmare. It didn't matter how wonderful the clients were, like anything. I just had done too much to myself for too long. And even though I had built some systems, like I said, when I started, there was no one else doing it. There weren't like models for me to build from, you know what I mean? So and I was just behind from jump because there weren't systems. So I just became depressed. Buying my dream house was a nightmare. My wedding was one of the worst experiences of my life because of the stress of the burnout. I actually answered a client call 2 hours before I walked down the aisle. Because they had paid me 50 grand for a project, and I felt like I needed to answer the phone no matter what, you know? And so there was a real lack of boundaries.
Yeah. I think, like, one of the things I talk with my audience about, or my clients about all the time, is exactly that. Like, when you just said that, I just got chills. I was like, wow, because that's what we do. Entrepreneurs, real estate agents, it doesn't matter who it is, anyone that works for ourselves, we tend to think that someone paid me, so I owe them my personal time. I owe them my personal life. Right. Right. And I think that's a normal feeling, because we kind of get stuck in this like culture of like always feeling like you have to be on.
Yes.
Always feeling like you got to be on. You've got to like, if you want to make money, if you want to succeed, you have to outwork the person. You have to outwork the next person.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's a big part of it. And even like in the world of content and content creation, like that's a big part of the ethos and the mentality that people go through so much, is especially with social media now and TikTok, which wasn't even there then, like the churn of the, bite size or micro content that expires in 2 seconds. And the feeling like you need to keep up all the time, like, and which all that ever does is make you always feel behind, like you're always losing no matter how hard you try. And eventually, why am I getting up to do this anyway?
Right.
Right.
Exactly. And that's, you're like nail on the head. You just hit the nail on the head. It's like, because when you're always trying to chase you're trying to chase whatever that is, whatever it is, right? It's like you're never going to feel like you're going to get there. I actually was talking to one of my coaches yesterday, and she had said, done is an iterative process. And I was like, that was a really, like, I kind of had the same look on my face. When she said that, I was like, wow. And I've heard people say like done is better than perfect, but it's like, well, what's your definition of done? I've heard that, but like, I really liked when it made me think about it differently. Done is an iterative process.
I do love that. I am a recovering perfectionist and people pleasers.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the nature of, being a woman and being a woman entrepreneur, on top. So I think that's part of it. So like, my question for you is like, talking about iterative process, talking about burnout in your story, you kind of like, you tried to shift, right, from being a writer to being more of a creator, if you will, or a digital product creator. And then you're just like, bye, done. So
yes.
yeah. So tell me about that. Like, you had a pretty successful business, you had a profitable email list, but you abandoned all that. And now you have this new life of freedom, this new life of liberation. So tell me more about that.
Okay. So yeah, that was a bit of a process as well. Ended up buying that dream house for my husband
Mm-hmm.
in Florida, which became a nightmare in and of itself. And I felt a lot of the burden of what's happening in the Florida real estate market. For those of you that aren't aware, the fixed rate mortgages are no longer fixed rate.
Mm.
And many of us experience overnight mortgage hikes of thousands of dollars, because of the insurance situation with hurricanes, la-di-da-di-da. Anywho, I was completely overwhelmed with even just like the financials of operating the business, if that makes sense. It wasn't that like there was a lack of money or anything. It was just too much everything all the time. And I felt an overwhelming need to streamline and simplify life so that I could step back into like a place of like clarity and focus and everything with my work, which is what really brings me the most joy and fulfillment in life. My work is creatively based. If it was up to me, I mean, I feel like I'm like writing and coloring all day like a little kid. I love it. Like, I can't believe that I get to do this.
Yeah.
But I was so overwhelmed by just like home ownership. It was a huge 4-bedroom house, movie. Like, it was just too much for me. So I said, okay, what can I do to make this career that has fed my soul and used to be a reason to get up in the morning and used to make me so happy? How can I get it back to that place again? So we sold the house and bought a tiny little travel trailer, which I'm in right now. So now I can actually travel the whole country and go to my clients. Like right now, the way that we met, it's like so amazing. It's so full circle for me because I was stuck in Florida and now here I am in the Pacific Northwest, and I can actually meet so many of the clients and different people in tech that I used to work and consult with for years. And that's so exciting for me. So I feel more connected, less stressed, less burdened. Everything is streamlined, simplified, and I'm excited again.
Yeah. And I think that's like the biggest thing, right? Because you get into entrepreneurship. Well, most people, I should say, get into entrepreneurship for a level of freedom. Especially let's say grew into entrepreneurship. Most of the entrepreneurs I work with and that I know, myself included, entrepreneurship was not my first rodeo. It's not my first rodeo in the working world, right? It was really my third rodeo in the working world. And so like we get into it for a level of freedom. And then find out real fast that freedom is, you really have to almost redefine what freedom looks like for you. And you did that.
Stay in touch with that, I feel like. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause like you really have to redefine what freedom looks like. You've got to like stay in tune with that. Like, so now I have a lot of questions. The first one, I'm like, where do I want to go first? Because I really want to kind of bring your story back into what you do today and kind of like you're re-entering the world that you're and kind of like getting back in touch with what burned you out the first time.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to talk a little bit about that. Like, what are you doing differently now that's going to help prevent that? And like, that's what I would like to know.
Okay, great. So things have definitely changed. Before I would say I was almost treated kind of like ChatGPT.
Okay.
You know, people came to me with their budget and their SEO goal and said, go. And so I would just kind of like hole up and write and design. And I was doing at the end these full scale membership websites, the entire website, all the content that went in, all the packaging, everything. And that was a lot, but it taught me that like what I had been doing for myself and for clients for years was not just content creation. I had been operating like a creative director and I just didn't realize it. I wasn't stepping into that power as a creative director. So I took the last 5 years while I slowly healed that burnout to like deeply study things like graphic design and web design and storytelling and Jungian psychology and buyer psychology and how all of those interact. And that allowed me to reinvigorate my passion because I could see, okay, the SEO landscape is changing. It's not about who has the most content anymore. It's about the best targeted content, the freshest content, the most relevant. And I believe and have seen that visual storytelling and bringing typically dry, boring topics to life with graphics or animation or visual story, whatever it might be, goes a very long way. And that's what I've really refined. So now as I'm coming back, I don't have to teach people or sell people gobs and gobs and gobs of content just to rank at the top of Google. Now ranking at the top of Google is one thing, but actually getting the traffic means you need to sell something related to the problem that people are searching to solve. That's where digital products come in, because ChatGPT, Google, none of them can provide the answers within the digital product, right? So if somebody runs a search, how to do X, Y, or Z, and they're just going to get the list of what to do, and then they're going to move on with their life. But if they need a product to accomplish that goal, they're going to have to click away to that website, your website, and then hopefully make a purchase. And we've seen that intent change dramatically. So I'm excited because now I'm not just writing content for the sake of SEO and algorithms. I'm helping people package content that solves real problems at scale so that they can go on about their lives and feel that freedom.
Yeah, I love that. Do you think that with the rise of AI upon AI upon AI upon AI, like, and I mean, it's funny because today I just got off one of my coaching calls and I was showing my coaching cohort, I'm like, look, you need to use AI to use AI to use AI. Because it's true. Because we were like, I gave them all a challenge and I want them to do this challenge. And some of them had some reasons why the challenge wouldn't work. And I was like, well, it's an AI video maker now. So you could just use this tool, right? You can go in and you could use Kling AI to create your videos, right? Just use some photos, plug it in there, use Kling AI. And then if you want to give AI the right prompt, go to ChatGPT to tell ChatGPT that I want to go into Kling AI to create this video. And this is what I want from the video. Give me the prompt. ChatGPT will give you the prompt. Right. So like my question is like, do you think that with AI upon AI upon AI, do you think that's going to impact the way that you serve your people? Because there's definitely still a need for hands-on support. The human relationship is going to be so much more important now than it ever has been before. Ever.
100%.
Like the human relationship is like the way that we are going to have to relate with humans is completely changing. And that's what I think AI is doing for us right now. How do you think that's going to change the way you serve your clients and the way you serve your audience?
It's already changing a lot of things. That's a great question. Thank you.
I mean, I could talk AI all day, every day. In fact, one of the other guests I had on here, he and I were talking about AI. I was like, man, I think I'm just going to have like all of you back and we're going to do like an AI panel. Like we're going to do an AI round robin. I could talk AI all day, every day. I love what AI is going to do for us. And it's just going to make us, you and me as entrepreneurs, it's only going to make us better. It's
Yeah,
only going to make
yeah.
us better.
When used carefully, yes.
Right. You have to think about that, right? But it's gonna force us to be better.
Yeah, I do think that's happening. You know, Gary Vaynerchuk always talks about like these big market shifts when they happen. He loves them. He gets so excited because it eliminates all the B, C, D players. Like this
Yeah.
is where we refine the milk, right?
Right.
Let the
Right.
cream rise. So I do think there is going to be a good amount of that. The way that how is it changing the way that I work with people?
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the big misconceptions is that you can just create blogs or content or whatever with ChatGPT and like change a sentence or two and upload it on your website. That is a very bad idea for your SEO and your brand authority and other things. One of the main reasons people always used to come to me for writing in this industry is because, admit, I don't know how to write copy in a way that actually connects with people and all of these things. So then those same people are turning to ChatGPT and creating content that they think sounds nice, but you don't understand the difference between content or copy that's designed to actually convert or just sounds nice.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're seeing already, and this is part of why I started to come back now, is I knew that at first, the last couple of years, everyone was just going to use ChatGPT and stuff anyway. There was no point fighting it. What am I going to do? But now they're realizing that people very quickly unfollow and do all kinds of things when they see social media accounts that post with EM dashes and stuff. And we're not going to get into that whole debate.
My favorite tell, I shouldn't say favorite, but the most annoying tell for me with AI is emojis.
Oh, yeah. That's
the way ChatGPT, more specifically, ChatGPT uses emojis drives me bonkers. I'm like, we never used that many emojis before, people. Why are we using 55 right now?
Yeah. And honestly, like I'm at a point where you're honestly better off just not posting anything at all. Because if you're
okay.
No, for real. No,
okay.
for real.
I love you got to have a powerful opinion. You've got to have that. So
you guys are asking people to trust you with one of the biggest financial decisions that will ever impact their lifetime, their quality of life. Huge decision. And you want the first interaction to not even really be you? No. The consumers are recognizing it just as well as we are. You know what I mean? Everybody knows how to spot it. And very soon, it's just going to be widespread, automatic unfollow, 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 unfollow. You might as well not post anything at all.
I've already kind of done that myself, for sure. Like,
and I see polls on LinkedIn about it too. Like people are over it.
Right. Well, you know, the one good thing about like ChatGPT for writing is like when you learn how to actually use it correctly, at least to write, just to write. When you learn how to use it, you learn how to train it. You know, it's a lot easier to actually scale your voice, because I'm really into this whole scaling my voice lately.
I know.
Like I got to scale my voice, right? Because I don't, like, I'm one person. I talk a certain way. I want things to be a certain way when they come out. And so like, I think that's one good thing about that. So what's the difference? Like for someone, like just pretend it was me. I'm like, Sarah, what's the difference between me going and training my AI to talk like me, sound like me, convert like the things I want it to convert to, versus hiring you as a person? What would be the biggest thing that I would notice as a human?
Okay. So when we're getting down to just like the nitty gritty of you DIYing with ChatGPT versus hiring a professional like myself, someone like you in particular, not Lynea, do you know off the top of your head, I don't mean to put you on the spot, do you know like your hourly rate, like what you're worth?
Girl, of course I would know that. That is like the number one thing I talk about. My hourly is $500 an hour.
Great. I will absolutely save you a fortune in the amount of time that you need to spend proofreading that content and optimizing. That's the other thing. Like when it comes to, if we're doing SEO content, right? That's very different than something gated, like a digital product.
Right.
Okay. Or even like your emails or things like that. You're not going to get flagged from the search engines or AI for using ChatGPT content there. However, everything else is going to require so much more proofreading than you think, and editing, and so that you're not really relieving that much creative burden. Maybe for the average person that it would have taken them 12 hours to write 3 pages because English was their worst subject. Okay. But at the end of the day, this is still you now sitting down and going down into the rabbit hole of ChatGPT and creating all of this thing. And like, there will be people who are less versed than you that go to try to create their own bot and spend 8 days down a rabbit hole creating a bot. And at $100 an hour, do you know how much money I could have saved you if you just let me write it properly with the proper schema markup, with the like all of these things? You don't know about keyword stuffing. You don't, do you know the percentage of how many times a keyword should show up versus its semantics within the context, and like where should it show up, and like there's so much more to it than what people realize in terms of just written content, much less keeping it branded or keeping the difference between content and copy, huge, Yeah.
And I think that's a great answer, by the way, great answer. I think great job on like, what's your dollars per hour? Cause that's the thing. You gotta always, a little sales 101 here is never answer the question. Always ask with the question.
Thank you. See, I'm a marketer, not a saleswoman.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little sales 101. So great job. I'm like, wow, she did a great job on that. For anyone listening, there you go. That's how you answer. If someone asks you, why would I hire you? Well, what's your dollars per hour? And you should, by the way, if you're watching this, you should know your dollars per hour. If you don't, I have a dollars per hour worksheet that I can happily share with you. So just let me know and I'll happily share it with you. Anyone that wants to know what your dollars per hour is, Sarah, I'll share it with you too if you want to know. I'll be happy to. So I basically have people go in and like calculate income, how many hours they worked. And like, when we look at hours, we look at things in like a total roll up. Like, I want you to calculate your business, basically hours for a week. What did you spend time doing every day? Like business related, not business related, where did it bring on the energy level? Like, first of all, like energy, how much energy did it take from you or give back to you, one or the other? And then I have them take that like total number of hours, business hours that they worked, put that into a calculator. And that's how we calculate dollars per hour. So anyway.
That's huge. That's such a huge exercise to actually do, I think, on a regular basis, if not monthly, at least quarterly. I would absolutely
quarterly
do that.
For sure.
And I tell people, like, when it comes to, like, people get so obsessed with planning and time blocking, and all of those things are really important and great and awesome. But it really, like, the money is in the tracking what you're actually doing.
Right.
I find that all the time. And we talk about, speaking of Gary Vaynerchuk and creating content, the easiest, fastest way for you to do that fresh and please all the algorithms and everything is to document what you're doing. Perfect example. This time last year, I was having a confidence crisis that I was like in this travel trailer, and the internet was shoddy, and I'm like, oh my God, like I don't feel like I can show up consistently, and and all the stories we tell ourselves. So I said, okay, what can I do to prove to myself that I can show up consistently? For 100 days in a row, I will show up on YouTube and I will design a digital product and I will post it and promote it. So I will create a video, design a product, and like do all of the promo for it for 100 days straight. And I did that. That wasn't me doing extra work. That was me hitting record on the screen while I was already designing products. You see what I'm saying? And that now I have 100 videos that showcase me and my talent and the work that I can do building my SEO on a YouTube channel from the work that I was already doing. And that's the kind of stuff that you guys can do. Absolutely, just by tracking.
100%. Let's take that back to, real estate space or entrepreneur space, whatever it is. Like literally, it's not that hard to do one extra thing. Just hit record. That's it. Just hit record and just do the exercise. Do whatever you're doing, whether it be tracking your hours, whether it be writing a contract, whether it be negotiation, price analysis, whatever it is. Right? Just hit record. I love that. Did you publish that public on YouTube?
Yeah, I did.
That's cool. What's your YouTube channel? Should we send people there?
We should send people. We're going to send people there. I'm going to warn them. It is a whimsical experience.
So whimsical experience. So yeah, so talk to me about that a little bit too, because before we started recording, you were talking about kind of like the shifting from like SEO into this more whimsical brand into now not whimsical again. So we're not necessarily not, but
Yeah.
yeah. You just tell me a little bit about that.
So, in this deep dive that I wanted to do the last 5 years, I knew that I wanted to get much better at my storytelling skills. Storytelling is rooted in the characters, authentic characters and dialogue. What's the root of that? Understanding the true psychology behind each character. And so, in doing that, I kind of really got back in touch with myself and realized that writing wasn't enough, designing wasn't enough. Like, there's something in me that wants to be like this generation's female Walt Disney, but better. And so I went on this journey to be like, okay, how can I bring visual storytelling to like use it to bring topics or challenges that people face that they're resistant to more approachable, or even just simple things like I'm really bad at tracking my sales in my CRM on a Google Sheet or whatever. So by me designing the Google Sheet to be more beautiful, fun, engaging, immersive, now it doesn't feel like this bored, drying spreadsheet that you know what I mean? It's like, oh, this thing that I do. So it changes the way that people are experiencing the content and everything. So yes, it's whimsical because I spent these 5 years doing this work for women that were consultants and coaches in very spiritual health and wellness based niches.
Got it.
And
Okay.
when you go into this world, you very quickly discover this is an audience that loves crystals and tarot and butterflies and rainbows and like that's what they want. So in this series, you watch me design 100 products like a Showcase Your Brilliance planner. Large portion of the series is me designing themed branded templates for courses in different themes.
Cool.
So like ACOTAR, A Court of Thorns and Roses was a huge book series. So one of them is inspired-ish by that in the artwork, and you watch me design the slides, the sales page, the workbooks, the everything, and you can actually get all of these templates as well from me. And see, that was sales. Just hitting record on what I was doing was selling.
Yeah.
Without selling.
Yeah, like you don't even realize what you're doing. It's like, oh, look, you can actually buy this template from me. You want this? Cool, here you go. What's your YouTube channel?
Wildly Creative Women TV. It was designed for women.
Okay. But I mean, men can go there too if they want to, or non-binary can also go there. Yeah. Yeah.
You and I have talked about this before. Typically, and what I've always found is the more feminine I make my branding, the more men come with pockets open. So I'm still very selective in who I work with. So.
There it is. There it is. If you've been feeling stuck in the content chaos, like you're spinning your wheels with marketing that doesn't convert, you don't need more to-dos. You need a smarter system. And that's exactly what my Burnout Proof audit helps you discover. So click the link in the description to download your audit and begin creating your custom blueprint for a burnout-proof life right now. It's really interesting. I've actually, because it's funny, because yesterday I was reviewing my new website. We're working on my new website right now. And the designer had sent over a draft or a shell of the site, and it had the wrong branding colors. Like it had like my brand, they're in my brand, but they're not like my main. I have my main and I have my accent, and then I have these two are kind of like my second, or my main and my secondary. These two are like my accent colors, and he had done the whole site in my secondary colors. And I was like looking at it, and I'm like, why would you do that? Because it's like a green and a berry. And my colors are navy, and I have a muted gold with the berry. I use the berry in there too, but I really like the navy and muted gold. Just I feel like it's a lot more on brand with who I am as a human. When I looked at it, I was kind of like, oh, I actually kind of like the way it looks. But then I started thinking, I'm like, oh, it feels very bubblegummy. It feels very like very, very, very feminine. So it's really interesting. Yeah. I'd never seen the combo together just by themselves. And then I did, and I was kind of like, oh, Yeah.
And even see,
Interesting.
even things like that, it was so fun for me to study like the Jungian psychology and the buyer psychology and stuff, and just to learn like the differences of like, I understand based on your archetype why you like a more masculine brand. It's so wild, but those things really matter. And a big part of why I went down that rabbit hole for myself is before I hit burnout, I had a handful of clients that were super loyal and really wonderful people. They really struggled with the implementation part.
And that's it. It's that implementation gap, man. That's like that big thing right there. It's like this big major thing I talk about it all the time is the
You
implementation.
do. So I was like, okay, I got to figure out what is causing this, and find those patterns. And along the way, I was able to identify like even things that I didn't even know I was doing wrong. There were a couple of people that I had been like, yeah, I think that's a great niche for you. It wouldn't have been the right niche for them. I had to call them and be like, listen, how's that going? Because I think that luxury is not a good call for you. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
the different niches are really not designed for everyone, and everyone's psychological makeup is just not gonna mesh with every kind of client. And so that's why I also tell people like it's wild to try to choose a niche out of thin air based on what you think is going to be profitable. That's not going to work long term.
Yeah. It's really interesting. I talk about this all the time. It's funny because you and I talk about we learn this. We talk about a lot of things that are very similar. I talk about this all the time that you can't actually just pick a niche because you like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this goes into the next kind of like the other like, kind of big overarching question that I had for you was like, I teach people that you've got to find like your niche it's not a transaction. It's not an industry. It is an emotional and a psychological niche that you have. Like that's your niche. It's very emotional and very psychological. And I think like in real estate, it's really easy to think, well, they're tired of, I feel like it's easy for people to sum up. They think it's easy to sum up psychological needs of a buyer or of a seller. And it's not, right?
They do. They sure do.
Yeah, they think it's really easy. So let me ask you, like, how do you, as a content writer, as a person who helps real estate agents, entrepreneurs with this sort of identifying their connecting with their audience, how do you detect and design for the psychological needs of someone's audience?
It really does start with the niche, and you're right. People make these decisions based on emotion, no matter how badly you as the agent or the lender or the broker want them to make it on data or logic or
Nope.
whatever you want them to make the decision based on.
Mm-hmm.
It's emotional.
Yeah, 100%.
And so a big part of your job is to either yourself or work with someone like myself who knows how to anticipate the emotions and the thoughts going through someone's mind at the bottom of the funnel when they are highly intent on making a purchase decision. What are they going to type into where in order to find you? And so that's what you really need to hone in on. And it's not just about, I think a lot of times people are like, okay, so I just need to find that right keyword. Like, no, I think that a big part of the niche conversation is about the agent getting really emotionally attached
Yeah.
to the emotion behind it. I worked in geriatric healthcare for a while. I wrote a book on how to place people in a facility or with home health and stuff. And I'm really, really passionate about it. And this is a perfect example of a niche that you can't just roll in and shoot. Like, these are people with dementia. These are people who have a fall at home and end up in a rehab facility 24 hours later, and then all of a sudden a case manager calls their kids and says, you have 72 hours to find a bed somewhere for your parents. And if you're lucky enough to find the bed, usually that place, depending on how bad the fall or the incident or whatever is, they're going to want information about how to get the damn house in order to pay for care. And so like all of these things happen really quickly. And if that's your niche and you have these conversations, you get the phone calls from kids all the time that are like, I have 3 days to figure out what we're going to do with mom and dad's house. Or, and like speaking of high intent niches, but you can't just roll in like that.
Right.
just because it's profitable. You need to really have you ever maybe had to place a parent and you understand how intense that experience is? That might make you a better fit for that niche. There's so many different things that go into it, but I really think that you as the agent need to have a similar emotional attachment and story to the driving buying issue.
That's a really good way to put that. How do you help people make that connection?
So typically through a call, I have to talk to them.
Oh, you can't you can't just make it up off the top of your head? Weird.
I can use tools like psychological assessments and stuff, you know what I mean? Or your disc profile or this, or things like that. That can be a tool in helping us, but we also need to look at things like your actual local market, and let's do some gap analysis. Let's see if there's anyone actually serving that potential niche in your market yet or not. And if they are, what's their angle? Because where I get excited is kicking their ass. And the best way to do that is to go in and supplement what they're already offering.
Yeah.
And you can steal their traffic ethically that way. That's what they taught you in ClickFunnels.
Yeah.
How to ethically steal traffic, right?
Yeah. Speaking of ClickFunnels, do you build ClickFunnels? Do you help people with those?
I know how, but I believe it to be a cult that is not in the best interest of users.
Okay. Talk about that. Here we go, girl. This is your platform.
Okay, first of all, everything's a cult.
Everything's a cult? Is that what you said?
Yeah, basically everything's a cult these days. We're so segmented, right?
Yeah.
But no, I did work with ClickFunnels, and in ClickFunnels, I was fascinated by figures like Russell Brunson and the way they do the things they do, and why people are so attracted to hand over $750 a month to.
I look at it as leadership.
I love leadership.
Yeah. It is. I mean, I look at it as leadership. People buy on to a leader. I mean, leadership can be used good or not so good. We can see that on so many different levels, but it's all about the leader, right? People, the reality is with ClickFunnels is the same thing as solutions like Go High Level, or solutions you can even build funnels within your own website, right? So why do people choose ClickFunnels over Go High Level or anything else? Because of the leader. It's all about relationships. It's all about people. So I think it goes back to what you do too. Why would people choose you versus a ChatGPT tool? It's about you, right? It's about you. It's about the leader. It's about the person who's behind all of it. So
I agree. And especially this day and age, yes, you can kind of work around it a bit, but I'm sure you've noticed in working with bots like ChatGPT, pretty much whatever you say to it, it's going to blow a bunch of smoke up your ass and tell you it's the greatest thing that anyone's ever said or done, or the most brilliant idea anyone's 100%. Ever had. I'm not going to tell you that.
Sometimes we need that. Sometimes we all need our little AI best friend. I have Gemma. I call her Gemma. I'm like, hey, Gemma.
Oh,
yeah.
You named it.
Yeah, she's got a name. Sometimes we all need that. And then when I want reality, I don't go to my AI best friend. I go to my real friends.
In the writers community, there's a lot of conversation right now going on around the cognitive dissonance that ChatGPT causes. That's the most common bot. So that's what we refer to. But just the idea of I have this idea, let me go type it into ChatGPT and see what it thinks, that over time it erodes your own natural confidence and belief in your own thoughts and ideas. So I actually put myself on a diet from it. I was writing 10 to 20,000 words a day fairly effortlessly. Mm-hmm. I couldn't write after a year of using ChatGPT for random tasks. Couldn't write. Completely eroded my ability to sit down and feel like I knew what I was talking about at all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I thought I was the only one. And I really, I went through it mentally, because I've been pulled out of classrooms to write since I was 7 years old. Writing has been a major part of my entire identity, my whole life. And a year of prompting ChatGPT eroded my confidence that badly. I don't know. I literally just, not even just sitting at ChatGPT, I would be just going about my day and naturally just started doubting my ability to do anything. It was wild. So, I mean, that's a cost to calculate on top of your
Yeah, I
student
mean,
loan.
I definitely agree with that. I definitely think like I teach a lot of people, like I journal. I have my journal. It's with me all the time.
Yes.
I'm a journaler. Like
Me
I write,
too.
I write a lot. And I'm
I
also
love
like
it.
you. I have been a writer since I was as long as I can remember. Actually, when I was in high school, my senior year, they always ask you, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I'm like, "A writer." And her answer, and my teacher, she said, "But what do you really want to be? Because writers don't make any money."
Exactly.
Did you hear that same thing too?
Oh yeah, there was no way.
And
But
I'm
they
like,
were like, enjoy it now.
right. And then when I was like in my 20s, I went and got like I got a palm reading, and he was like, "Man, you need to write." Like, I don't know, there's a line on your hand that I don't know if it's like your money line or something, but he's like, "You need to write." He was like, he's like, "Have you written anything?" And I was like, "I write a lot." He's like, "No, but you need to write a book. You need to write a book." And so I don't know what line that was. I'm not a palm reading expert. But I will tell you, it's the same thing. I can totally agree. As a person who also likes to write, like for me, I was just like, this is my writing. This is my writing right here. I mean, I go through these in a couple of months, 2 to 3 of them in a month, 2 to 3 of them a year is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I just found the same thing. Like after my writing actually starts here.
Yes.
And so what I do is I actually take this and then I'll plug that into Gemma or Chat,
Yes.
whichever one. I'll actually plug this in, and this is how I teach it my brain. And then like really depending on what I want from there, then I'll be like, okay, now where do I go from here?
I am so glad that this came up. Also, longtime journaling nerd, and the fact that you held up a composition notebook. Oh my god!
Heck yeah! Like you get these for $1. My husband,
high from a composition notebook that's blank.
My husband he knows that I love to write, so he bought me one of these. And I'm going to tell you, it's so hard because I can't fold it backwards. I can't I'm like, oh, I love it so much, honey. And so now I just put in things here that I don't want to erase. Like I have my personal credo in here. I have like the experiences, like my bucket list. I have that in here. Like, so that's what I put in here now. But like, girl, this is it.
This is what, and that's what I have
$1.
designed and sold like thousands of journals and planners because I'm obsessed with them too. But
yeah. Oh, I also have a planner that I designed myself. This is my own planner.
Oh,
and it's just like big old paper that I can fold backwards. Yeah.
I love that.
Sorry.
You know, we're gonna cross over this threshold at some point soon. But for the millennials like myself and older, at least, we all were first taught how to process thoughts and read and write and everything pen to paper. That is actually the way that your brain will naturally process the thoughts.
Yep.
Way better than ever sitting down to a computer. It's shocking the difference. So I highly, highly, highly recommend. That's why I sell printable planners and journals and stuff for things like content prompts. People are like, well, wouldn't it be faster to just like it's not always about the fastest possible.
Have you ever read that book? Have you ever read the book called The Road Less Stupid?
No, I've never heard of it.
It's my favorite book. I read it in 2023, and I give it to all of my clients whenever they come partner with me or whenever they come work with me. This is the very first book I give them, and it's all about the concept of thinking time. And in thinking time, he talks about just exactly what you said. He talks about at the top of your page, right, and every morning there's a question. So which area of my life do I want to see the biggest breakthrough? That's the question. And that's what thinking time is all about, to process, right? To process your thoughts. And he does it. That's his whole thing, is about thinking time and how it saved him so much money, so much time. You know, it's gotten him to be so much more creative. So just, you should read that book.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I know, like, so many agents were teachers before, and you guys know, like, that's how we kick off classroom time in the morning a lot of times.
Right.
You know, so it's going back to basics a lot.
It totally is, but I think the novelty of, yes, AI is going to it's going to force us to be better. And what I meant by that is, like, because so many people go to that's their first solution, it's going to force people like you and people like me and people like the audience that's going to watch this to be better than AI. It's going to force us to, like you said, get to the emotional root of the problem. You have to get to it before they even know that they have the problem. And
Yes.
and so it's going to let us know, or it's going to force us to be better at that. Because like you said, people use ChatGPT like Google.
Mm-hmm.
Like
More than Google.
the fact that I actually go to Google and type in my question in the Google browser is like, because I'm 46 years old. I'm an old school. I'm a Gen X. I'm a young Gen X, right? So like that's what old people do. The young people nowadays don't even use Google. They use ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
And so like the reason why it's going to force us to be better is because when anyone can just go to ChatGPT and say, "Hey, what's the root of my person's emotional pain point?" Right?
Yeah.
Like, but to your point, it's not, ChatGPT doesn't tell you how to get there. It gives you a lot of concepts and a lot of ideas, but people can't implement all the stuff that ChatGPT gives you. There's literally no way. There's no way.
There is no way they can implement it all.
Right.
And that creates overwhelm in and of itself. And I think like somewhere every time you go into a chat to like create something or whatever, and then don't like take it to completion, there's one more like little like token or something that goes in the back of your head that kind of is like, well,
yeah, it's just like, it's like, are you a person, like if you're working online, are you a person that has one tab open or 20 tabs open?
I prefer less. Like the fewer tabs the better, but there are certain things I do like design wise or whatever that right now there's like 6 tabs.
Yeah, that's me too. I 6 is fine, but I'm talking like, have you, like some people I see like they've got 20, 30 tabs open, but that's my point. My point is like, just like you just said with like your ChatGPT or your Gemini or whatever, every time you open a new chat and you don't finish it through to completion, what's going to happen next time? You're just going to open up a new one and you open up a new one. And so it's just making our attention deficit disorder that we already have as a society. It's making it, I honestly think that's kind of the downside of AI, right? That's the bad side to it, is that it's creating a bunch of unfinished projects out there.
It absolutely is, which creates for a lot of us a lot of anxiety.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I read a term the other day that it made so much sense to me. High functioning anxiety.
Oh yeah, hi.
Yeah, and I was like, I was like, I don't know that I would consider myself, I don't really have anxiety. But I know I can see the term. I can be like, high functioning anxiety. I can totally see what that means. And I think to your point, it's exactly what we're talking about right here. Trying to think that we can just do it all rather than just saying, hey, I've got someone who's an expert here. Like, I know the kind of the basics, the gist of this, but like if people could just walk away and say, the only thing you really have to know the most about is right here. That's it. You have to be an expert at you. You have to be an expert at you, right? And live off your strength.
Yes. That's a big part of, when I do like somebody's behavioral psychology assessment, that's a big part of the conversation is these are your natural strengths and talents. Let's really focus on that and not spend the next 10 years obsessing about what you don't think is good enough about yourself. Right. Because I promise it'll be far more profitable to double down on what you are great at. And the rest can be the parts that make you a real human, which is very valuable today. Agents are obsessed with trying to appear so polished and perfect and put together and corporate professional. It's no wonder no one wants to buy anything from you.
Yeah. It's so true. So true. Woo! Okay, this is a great conversation. We could totally finish this forever. But let me ask you, kind of like this, like, we touched on this a little bit, and we might have to come back and continue this conversation later, but we touched on this a little bit, like digital products. So you said digital products are where like you can actually really scale, right? So what role do you think that digital products play in like dismantling high functioning anxiety or dismantling the culture of hustling, especially in like high pressure industries and roles?
Okay, I love this question. All right, I'm gonna try to be as clear as possible. So I feel like as more time goes on, the pressure to appear present on every channel with fresh content for every channel. Like that becomes overwhelming. And I think that that is a big part of the anxiety that's feeding the decision to sit down and make content or post for people in the real estate industry. They're like, oh, I have to. So I don't know, blah. You know, they just kind of put stuff out there. Less than 20% of agents bother with the idea of SEO, much less pursuing it realistically. And when we talk about things like getting in touch with the emotions behind why somebody is buying, I don't know how to express to you the intense opportunity that is there for you to go out and dominate a niche market in your local market, especially if you're somewhere rural. You can very easily dominate online search in those markets because no one's bothering. No one's even trying to do it. The digital product aspect is really exciting. What I use digital products for in terms of scaling service providers is I bottle those services you provide into products that provide the same result or supplement the result for people that were never going to pay you to begin with. Is this about creating products that replace your buyers and sellers? No, but it does allow you to start monetizing people outside of your market and collecting feedback data that you can use in order to figure out, oh, on a national level, what is impacting people in this niche? What do they care about? What are they emailing me a reply about? Like, you know, what are they talking about? And then we can focus the content even more and more and more. So really what digital products allow you to do is not just get found and get real traffic when no one's actually clicking away from search engines anymore. They will click away to a digital product that solves their problem at an appropriate price point. That allows you to be creating that impact at scale while you sleep, to generate that recurring, predictable revenue. There are very simple Etsy stores, even with brokers selling, you've seen them, Canva templates. You can sell if you're a broker, we can create a brokerage in a box set of templates that you can sell on Etsy or a different digital platform, your website, whatever, and very easily be bringing in a few extra $1,000 a month, which for most agents is a game-changing number in operations. Like,
yeah, it is. It is.
So,
it totally is.
I mean, it's the difference of trying really hard to publish as much content as you possibly can for free versus getting very intentional and publishing very high quality content for high intent buyers that produces real, that's your legacy. People, there's a big difference between legend and legacy. I was published on this in Real Producers, Seattle years ago, actually, the difference between being a legend and creating a legacy. Being a legend is wanting everyone to know your name. Creating a legacy is having an impact in people's lives, whether or not they ever hear your name. That's what a legacy is. You guys, you know, when you help a mom or dad buy or sell a house, that impacts their children and their children. And like when that kid goes to school, are they a different person to the other kids at school because now they have that? It's a much bigger impact. And digital products are one of the only opportunities for you to actually get traffic right now away from chat and away from search. Because if I go into ChatGPT right now and say, give me the top 3 agents in Tacoma, it will tell me the agents, their contact information, and their production numbers. And that's what I've spoken to agents that are getting leads from ChatGPT. Yeah. I just spoke to a woman who her last 3 deals came from ChatGPT referrals. And just because of a really stupid, simple SEO play like mine, bestrealestatewriter.com, I didn't think I was the best. I just knew that was a search term people were going to type in right before they purchased real estate content.
But you probably are the best, so there you go. You might as well live up to that manifestation that you put out there.
I'm definitely the most published human on the planet in the real estate topic.
Awesome. Yeah, because well, that being said, you write for Inman or Housing Wire, right?
Yep. I've done that for years too.
Yeah.
As a contributor.
Yeah. So anyone that's watching this, like, she's not just making all of this up. Like, Sarah lives and breathes this all the time. She writes for a real estate publication very popular, important real estate publication, by the way. And that's actually interesting enough. That's actually how I found Sarah. Found her on LinkedIn because I was looking for writers in the real estate space. And like it must have come up somehow. And I don't know if I was searching. I might have just been searching like Housing Wire. I was looking for connections with Housing Wire or Inman or something. And your name popped up there. So,
which, by the way, that's another good point. Like when we talk about SEO and stuff, a big part of it is authority, whether it's search and chat or, and that's why I went to Inman News within the first 6 months of starting my business to get that gig, because they've been referring me authority and traffic. And I'll say right before, we go anywhere or whatever, I currently, because I've just come back in the last few weeks to this, I am not even letting search engines index my site right now, because I'm being very selective on who I want there, and I'm also doing a lot of edits.
There you go.
So everything up there is really I actually created just a special page just for you guys with a workbook to get real estate leads from ChatGPT.
Ooh, okay. So where can people find that? They
can go to bestrealestatewriter.com/Lynea.
/Lynea. I love that.
You get no email opt-in or nothing. You can just click on it and it'll I'm a big fan of that. I like to do that.
I do too. I like it because the thing is, like, that's how you give value, because that's something people are going to actually remember. They're going to be like, if they don't remember it the first time, right? I think the stat right now is like, they have to see your name 28 times. It used to be 17. Yeah. It's now like 28 times people have to see your name. So why do you make them give you your email on the first time they see your name?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's
a lot.
It's so easy to stand out by just giving people stuff.
Yeah.
If in my experience, I'm not great at selling because I haven't really had to sell. When people get on the phone with me, they're ready to go. It's just a matter of like kind of talking through some stuff or technicalities, but it's just, this is what it is. I'm going to tell you what's in your best interest, whether you like it or not. I'm always going to give it to you straight.
Yeah, and I think that's probably why we connected so well. Cause I'm like, I like like a no BS filter right here. Like, I like this no BS filter. I'm like, girl, you passed that filter. So I love it. So before we shut the recording down, is there anything you wanted, like one last like big piece of Sarah advice that you'd like to give to the audience?
Yeah. So I think that in this day and age, it's very easy to get obsessed with metrics, vanity numbers, things like that. And the idea that we are supposed to create content, it's our job and all of that. And I think that everyone's gotten very disconnected from the emotional reality of what this whole thing is. And for example, I just started a new newsletter on LinkedIn, The Elevated Agent, a few weeks ago.
Which is great, by the way. Great newsletter. You should follow it and totally read it.
Thank you. And it picked up 750 subscribers in those first few weeks organically, not promoting it or anything, right? And it would be so easy to be like, 750. But Google or going to ChatGPT or whatever, a room of 750 people, and look at that. Like, really I imagine myself in a room or on a stage in front of 750 humans.
Yeah.
Those people are taking time away from their children, away from their companies, away from the beach, whatever, to read what I had to say. The idea that I would outsource that to ChatGPT makes me sick. Like, why? Why wouldn't I want to say what I have to say to them? So I want you to just really get emotionally reconnected to what it is when people stop to read your content. Are you giving them something worth reading anyway? Like,
great question. I think that is an awesome note. Where can people find out more about you, Sarah?
bestrealestatewriter.com.
It's easy to remember too. That's the best thing about it. Like, you don't even have to like spell it for people. bestrealestatewriter.com. I love it. I love it. Sarah, thank you so much. This has been an awesome, awesome conversation. I am just so thankful for you, and I just can't say thank you enough. So,
oh, thank you. This was so much fun. I'm so glad that I met you first. Like coming back, has felt like fate. Like you're exactly like my ideal human being. And I love everything that you teach. It's like completely in alignment. It's so ethical and so moral in a super corrupt industry. It's so needed. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this conversation with Sarah. She's a powerhouse, and make sure to check her out at bestrealestatewriter.com. Sarah Layton reminded us today that you don't need to shout louder. You need to speak more truthfully. That your story, when told with intention, becomes this strategy. So here's what I want to leave you with today. What are you building? A brand that people recognize or a legacy they'll remember? And what's more important to you? Thank you, Sarah, and thank you all for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. And remember, you don't have to burn out to be successful. You deserve to live a burnout-proof life with a business that supports it.